So this is also a test of my, stress management, running between two venues, moderating two different sessions at two different conferences, trying to see which of them will offer me lunch. None of them did, because I was early to leave there and I was late to reach here. But that's not the context. The context here is something else. We are here to discuss on a very elaborate topic, which I'm sure will be of interest to you. And this is when you have such illustrious panelists with us. So first of all, I think what I'll do is that I will quickly, I thought the anchor would do it, but since there's no anchor and I am supposed to do most of the jobs here, I would request each one of them to give a round of introduction, just one line. Now, whatever you want the audience to capitalize in one line is all yours. The mics are with you. We can start with you. Please go ahead. One line.
I'm from Malaysia. UOA is United Overseas Australia. We are listed in Malaysia, Singapore, and also Australia.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello, everyone. I'm Karan, founder of HR1. HR1 is a HR tech platform. Yeah.
This is so very brief. They want to ensure that I actually flip through my mails and my notes and get to the topic fast. Yes, please.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Yogesh Somani, and currently I head HR for Mr. DIY India. It's the largest home improvement chain in Southeast Asia. And one thing if you want to remember about me, I started my career as a bartender, so that will stay with all.
Okay, this is by no intention an invitation to the evening. That is purely on the organizer. This panel has no accountability for that. So please remember, and Dr. Bhatia and his team are fabulous hosts, so please excuse us for anything that you don't like, apart from the talk. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anand Dhruv. I head talent development function for Entity Limited. Proud to be a part of World HRD Congress and looking forward for this fruitful, wonderful learning session.
Okay, when somebody says fruits at lunchtime, I feel hungry. But nonetheless, there's bartending happening with fruits. I think let's get to the topic. So we are here together, the five of us, including me, to talk about HR transformation in the age of automation. If you see today, there's a lot of automation that's happening. Trust me, most of my speeches are also written by my dear friend. And if you don't know who the person is, it's ChatGPT. No, I'm just joking. That's just one kind of joke here. But if you see today, there's a lot of automation happening, right? There is HR is currently being if I may say, being focused on the artificial intelligence piece. There are a lot of softwares that are helping HR to enable the people's potential. There is the learning side, which is again managed by tech. There is the AI-based recruitment. Then there is onboarding, etc. So those are things that are happening. But if you look at it all, these are only enablers. Technology is an enabler. What's important is that how do we as HR leaders, learning leaders, enable a unique employee experience, which in other words of the stalwart sitting in the front row will be the employee lifecycle management. And to talk about this, I think there's no better people than the panel here. So I'm going to be asking this question to my colleagues here. I think I'm going to start with Anand. Anand, if you see, there's a lot that has happened in HR tech, all right? And do you think this has positively affected the employee experience in organizations? How does the employee take this? Do you think that we are missing the human touch because of so much of tech? What's your view?
So thank you for that question, Aditya. So let me put it this way. Nothing has changed. The human touch, the human element. For example, if you are a parent, it's been said that at least touch your child 5 times a day. Similarly, as an organization, we play the role of a parent. We need to ensure that the human touch, the human element with the employee is definitely not being impacted, because that's something which makes the bond very, very strong. Employees are all about humans. It's all about feelings, and nothing can substitute a feeling. A machine has to be operated by a human. A machine cannot operate it by itself. People of my generation, used to go and drink water from any of the public tap, and still we were better. Today, Bisleris have replaced us. But what is one thing common is the thirst is the water. Same is the tech element. Humans as an employee in an organization are very much integral part, because they are the one who ensure that the organization works, it grows. Tech has definitely enabled that process that entire experience in layman's language, Aditya has rightly mentioned, the employee lifecycle management, which actually starts before the onboarding of the employee, which is a candidate. Before a candidate, he or she researches about you as a company. So tech definitely enables the entire experience of employee lifecycle management, because that makes the prospect to, the journey from being prospect to a candidate, definitely tech enables a lot. And once the candidate becomes the employee, your entire employee lifecycle management, which in layman's language, a simple word we say, employee experience, tech definitely plays a major, major important role. Today, there are two sets of organizations. One, wherein the day of your joining, you get all your joining related, your goodies, your laptop, your system, your email ID, your visiting cards, everything at one go. And there are organizations which are still struggling with basic. So what enables or what enhances your entire employee lifecycle management is the element of tech. And as rightly mentioned, that personal conversation, ensuring that the CEO and the senior most of the organization has that connect with the root level, with the ground level employee, enhances the overall experience. And that's what employee experience is all about. And there are so many examples of the managing directors and the first chairperson of the organization addressing the employee, and there are common town halls. So while technology has enabled the town hall and we are able to reach to the remotest part of the organization, but still that human, that leader has to communicate to the organization. Vice versa, top-bottom, top-to-bottom, bottom-to-top communication, all these channels within the organization plays a very important role, and nothing ever, at least I am confident for the next N number of years, can replace the human touch in the entire process of employee lifecycle management. These were my few opening comments.
No two doubts about that. I think the aspect of personal touch is always going to be there. But I think what you make a point of is that there is definitely a case that employee experience has been enhanced with technology. Today, as we speak, we understand, and just like you mentioned, there is onboard. Let's look at the life cycle. There is resume screening, there is interviewing, there is offers, there is joining formalities, there is onboarding, there is induction, there is goal setting, there is learning, there is engagement aspects, there is performance management, there is comp, there is rewards, and then finally there is career growth. And all that happens, which is with tech, right? But what's more important, and what I think cannot be substituted, is the personal touch of the manager and the leaders that you work with. On that note, we also see that workplaces have evolved. There was this WhatsApp University kind of quote that change has come faster because of COVID and not because of the chief technology officer. Keep that aside. That's for aspects of lighter vein. But the workplaces have changed. And when the workplaces have changed, I want to ask, Heikel, that how do you think HR automation has evolved for meeting the needs of the changing workplaces? Specifically from your experience from Malaysia.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, my organizations, United Overseas Australia, we are a legacy business. So my founder is still working around, with the families, although we are listed in 3 countries. Sometime 2 or 3, 4 years ago, we actually embarked into transformations, and we look into automations at the different phases. Now, 15, 20 years ago, I remember when I worked in my first organizations, we only had e-leave system, which can only be accessed within the premise. So it's an intranet, right? So you can't access from home. That was 15, 20 years ago. Now, fast forward, when I go to my board in my organization and try to pitch the idea of automations, there are 5 things that I actually spoke to them. Number 1 is the ability of the system to provide insight. Those days, you cannot get as much insight as you want from your automations, right? So you just merely applying leave, and then you don't get any details or insights from the leave. And likewise, medical leave and whatever leave. So I told to the board that, coming to automation is very important, that we must have insights and a proper dashboard that will tell you about whatever automations that you're taking place. Now, number 2 is the omni-channel access. So the ability for us to actually access to the system anytime, anyway, using any devices, which in those days you may not be able to see this happens, right? And number 3 is the quick integrations. So the system that allows synchronizations with other HR system through API integration, which is application programming interface. So I think that's quite critical. Now that we have so many HR system in the place and how fast that integrations can be done. Number 4 is the risk mitigations, so that programs that comes with a 360 visibility and also audit trail. And the last one is the automated alert. So we want the system that are able to give a reminder, alert to our people, our employee, so that they are not missing deadlines and keeping them on track. So those are the 5 things. Actually, I think it's quite important when I pitch that to my board.
Yeah. Nice to know, in fact, what good system would be if it actually prompts and say, hey, you know what, you haven't taken leave for the last 20 days. It's time that you take leave, or some of these aspects which are intelligent. As HR leaders, learning leaders, we always have a task when we have to go and convince the management, the apex leadership, for buying technology platforms or buying some sort of services from the tech partners. And until recently, it used to be that we will buy something that is for internal, if I may use the word back-end HR processes, but we'll build something which is customer-facing, because the customer comes first. Unfortunately not, the customer comes second, the employees come first. And if there's nobody who's told that to you, trust me, that's something that's missing. So the employees come first to actually then make happy customers. Now, the decision of what kind of platforms, what kind of tech to work with, specifically with the aspects of how can leaders ensure success in terms of implementing these automation packages or services. What's your view, Yogesh, in your experience?
Sure. So thanks, Aditya. So I think I've been fortunate enough to be part of a lot of digital journeys in all my assignments, and I've been part of all sorts of journeys which have failed miserably as well, and some products have exceedingly succeed. So what I have seen is I'm little wary of too much of experimentation when it comes to technology, because it sounds very counterintuitive in today's time, but please, we need to, as HR fraternity, need to understand that our function's credibility is at stake when you experiment too much, right? If every 3 months, 6 months, I'm going to get a new system, people are not going to take us seriously. Plus, of course, we are hampering the entire experience of an employee. Yeah, so very important that when you choose to experiment, keep this thought in the mind that it's credibility at stake. Second is, am I doing too much of automation? Okay, there is a lot of automation fatigue. Okay, especially in a lot of new age startups. I think for everything there is an app. For everything there is a tool. But a lot of duplication is happening because of that. Okay, it's not really, we are not looking at redundancies, rather we are adding more tasks, doing same things in different versions in different systems. So we also need to be cognizant that, what am I buying? Why am I buying? I hope I am not doing an automation fatigue to my employees, right? If you're sorted and you are sure, okay, fine, I need a system, then what's your problem statement, right? A lot of time we go in market, I've got funding, I'll go in market, I'll buy the best new toy which is available, okay, or which is the most fanciest one. But I think most important is you need to identify what's your problem statement, right? Is your problem transactional or is your problem transformational, right? These two things we should really always carry, in the back of our minds. Okay, if my problem is transactional, I really don't want to go with anything much fancy. I want something with a strong background. If I want to look at transformational projects, then I need to look at systems which are, helping me in transformation. If you are sorted, you've chose the product, then it's very important. A lot of times we think we operate in isolation, we operate in vacuum. I think very important to understand what is the digital or automation strategy of your organization. Okay, which direction your organization is moving into when it comes to digitalization, and you pick from that. Okay, and align your needs, align your product with that. And once you are done with it, you know, okay, you are moving with the direction of the organization and not against the tide. Then you go ahead, secure buy-in from all your key stakeholders, your end users, and you do all sorts of focus group discussion, how to go about it. Once that is done, you collaborate with other departments, right? A success of the product is only when, I will stop calling it an HR system. I think if I'm able to call it an organizational improvement system, there'll be a lot of buying. So when I was exploring a system just a couple of months back, I also went to my IT head. I went to my CFO, okay, what are the problems that you are facing that, my system can address? And how can we make it our system rather than my system? So you need to collaborate, right? Today, the systems are giving you help desk option, which means my IT head can easily use it. The system is giving me asset management. So my IT head, my expense module can be used by my accounts team. So, you need to collaborate. And most important competency that we lack when we take a system, so there are a lot of competencies, new age competencies we talk about, but there is one basic competency which is of marketing that every HR should really focus on, because we buy the best of the toys, but we don't market our products. We really don't tom-tom about it enough, what's it's going to solve for you. So we need to market, we need to create a lot of change champions in the entire piece of ease. And last but not the least, my point is, please, we should stop romancing the product that we've bought, because if we romance it enough, we are not really looking at a sustainable and scalable product. So we should stop romancing, continuously look at, how I can improve the same product, how I can better it, how I can improve my employee experience by using the all possible features in the product. So we need to really stop romancing. Yeah.
Good points. First of all, automation fatigue. That's quite an insight. How many of you in this room right now, those who are not on WhatsApp, are facing automation fatigue in your organizations? The reason I said not WhatsApp, because half of you will be in fatigue for that. So, but leaving aside WhatsApp, how many actually are facing automation fatigue? I saw one hand raised, 2, 3. Okay, anybody else? Automation fatigue in terms of multiple applications in the organization for HR or other such systems? All right, a couple of them are now showing up. All right, great. Okay, let's look at the aspect that he just brought out. Yogesh made a very pertinent point about not romancing the product. Okay, incidentally, it's 15th of February. Had it been 14th, you would have been caught off guard, but not romancing the product, which means that it's not about me and it's about my fancy for a product, right? It's about how a product can become an organization effectiveness tool, if I may use the word, or enabler, and therefore how do you cooperate or how do you collaborate with the technology team, with perhaps the IT team, with the finance team, with stakeholders that actually have the problems. I mean, why are you going to put a platform in place, Karan, when there's no problem? Actually, there is a problem, and I think what you mentioned about the fact to co-create the solution is quite an insight. Second, I want to also maybe pick up the point with you, and I think I'll make it interactive. I'm also trying to, please you guys, so you don't pull my leg in the break that, you were late, etc. So I'm trying to be very nice to you, but that's the way I am. Is about the fact that how do you go about identifying the problem, first of all? So you said that there are focus group discussions. Sometimes people don't even know that the problem at hand, right? For all those who are still on WhatsApp, it's going to take eye strain. Look at me, I'm more pleasing than WhatsApp, trust me. So on that note, what is it about the problems and how do you identify those problems in your organization maybe?
So I think...
okay, for all of you, I'm trying to make some jokes. Please laugh. Come on. Thanks, so nice.
So I think a lot of times nowadays we pick up problems from a product that is advertised on LinkedIn, right? And we suddenly see, oh, this is the problem. But the real underlying problem is, when you go to the bottom of the pyramid in the organization and talk to them, what are the challenges they are facing? What are the steps in the existing process? Are you doing your existing process review and seeing what are the steps that are redundant, where I can take technology help? So you need to really go down and, look at, dirty your hands, what's really happening at the execution level, because at our level, at strategy level, I think we want to pick up the latest buzzword that's happening on WhatsApp and LinkedIn and all our HR groups.
It's like a prized position. Uske paas hai, mere paas kyun nahi kind of stuff. That's right. So you identify the problem. It's not the right word. It could be a concern. It could be an opportunity as well. That how can we, help you do better. We're also keen to cut the bureaucratic time. I mean, there are leave applications and expense reimbursements lying in the mailbox of managers who are shunting between 2 hotels without lunch. How can I approve it? I mean, I cannot, right? So if it's lying there for some time, it has to get auto-approved kind of stuff. So on that note, I'll bring in now Karan, who is an entrepreneur here and perhaps one of the most richest people on this five-member team.
Not at all, not.
Okay, so that's a classification. I didn't mean anything there. But you are running this enterprise called HR1. And I'm sure that your team is researching on the workplace trends and you're understanding a lot about the future of automation. What do you think is the future of automation and workplaces more so in the near future, which is about 3 to 5 years?
So thank you, Aditya, for the question. So like last 2 years have really pushed us to think outside our boundaries. Like we have seen layoffs, we have seen great resignation, then we have seen talent war, then now again layoffs. So last 2 years, like we have come full circle.
Right.
So which has really pushed us to think like how to build a growing and sustainable organization. And what I foresee is like people have now realized that organizations need to carry people first mindset. So what I foresee next 3 to 5 years, now the automation will be not just business process led, it will be more people experience led. So I foresee like the platforms will be more flexible, will give more power to HRs to experiment on the ideas with help of low code platforms so that whatever you think you can implement as fast as possible because world is changing. And secondly, all employees are interacting with some or multiple consumer apps outside their workplace and they expect same from the application they are using at workplace. So I see a shift from enterprise grade UI UX design to consumer grade UI UX. And lastly, like what you like just mentioned, that people are fatigued of using multiple applications. And in next 3 to 5 years, we'll see people will use one integrated solution and move away from point solutions. So these are the 3 things what I foresee like in next 3 to 5 years.
Thanks, Karan. Coming to what you mentioned about integrated application, there's a thought that just crossed my mind when I was on my way. See, a lot of players are doing similar work or solving similar issues. Some of them are solving incremental issues. And we always have heard the word competition. And we've then heard the word collaboration. But there is something called co-opetition, which means that you compete yet collaborate. Now, in your view, as the founder of HR1, do you think that's the way forward? Will tech companies, when I say tech, I'm talking about HR tech companies, automation companies, cooperate in terms of, if that's the right word, that they will collaborate and compete and form alliances? Because as an employee, and picking up what you said, the fatigue, that I don't want to do so much on different applications, different platforms. Can somebody get me everything? Now, either you have deep pockets and you keep buying all these companies and say, I have a forward and a backward and a cross integration. And then you clarified, you're not the richest of the 5 of us. So any which ways, if I am not, nobody is right now here, right? So so how do you kind of, envisage that it's going to be unfolding in the next maybe 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, no. So collaboration is very important. So no organization can build everything. So, but at the end of the day, customer wants everything. So if you want to really do that, you need to collaborate with your, with tools, you need to integrate them. At the end, you need to give a similar experience, a great experience to your customers and to the employees. So there is no other way without integrations, good integrations, tight integrations. You cannot give that experience. So whatever.
So,
yeah.
no, so what I meant is that if there are a couple of people that are, in the exhibition outside, and they were to come and say, what, we compete, can we collaborate, can we create one product, would you be keen?
So yeah, so adjacent products, so there are a lot of adjacent
Adjacencies,
products.
yes, most importantly.
Yes, yes.
So you'll be keen.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Another question that I want to pose to the panel and to the audience is there's a conundrum whether simplicity is elegant or not. Okay? And in tech platforms, in automation platform, there is that aspect. So quick, word, because I saw somebody coming and say 5. That actually was a high 5. I thought to tell me that I'm there, but I actually thought he went back and saying it's 5 minutes left. So what's it? Simplicity is elegance, or the more complicated you make your product, the more aspiration. I want to go there because it's so complicated. Is that the way it is?
So it's like, I love to hear Shashi Tharoor, subject I have a dictionary.
Ah,
So it's like that. So try to be as simple as possible because the whole objective is just picking up the thread. People need people, business need business, competition needs competition. A healthy competition enables that the best product and the best service is available in the market, and that's due to competition. So try to be as simple as possible, no second thought on that, but definitely do not dilute, do not compromise on your core objective. Like someone said about being fatigued. At times, too much of automation kills that simplicity, and that's the end of the entire process. And that's how we miss the bus.
Yogesh, if I'm very simple, I can't charge you a premium, right? I have to be complicated because complication is pedigree. Competition is something that gives me an edge over you. So what's your take on that?
So I think, an company like or a product like Apple is the most classic example of you can be so simple yet most costly, right? So you're really classy, you're really simple. I think while they don't talk about it, but the most investment that goes for them is creating a very simple UI. Right, so that everything is available, at a thumb, right, from the size of the phone to the kind of. So it has to be simple, it has to be elegant. I don't want to, have 5 clicks to get through one process. So it has to be simple.
Simple and elegant. Yeah. What about you, Karan? Yeah. When you go and pitch for business, do they say, "Bahut simple hai, kya hai?"
Our strength is simplicity, but what we are is like, because you build complex system, but don't transfer that complexity to end user.
How beautifully said. You build a complex system at the back end, but let the front end be very simple.
So this is one of our...
Just like a lot of effort has gone in getting the panel together, including getting me to this venue, but we're making it look so simple. It's all orchestrated. No, that's actually not the case. What about you, Chief? How is it in Malaysia, in that part of the world?
So Aditya, just one word.
Yeah, sure.
So it's more like an iceberg. What we see is just the 5 to 10% of the element, but the entire complexity which Karan mentioned is under the water, under the sea.
How very elegantly put, yeah?
I think simple is important, but it also must be purposeful and able to address the pain point of the organizations. I think that's critical.
Purposeful, complex at the back end because you have to actually, get your CTO look nice as well. All right. That's some nice words. On another point of build versus buy, quickly, would you want to build or would you want to buy a platform? You got to know.
We have been built
Karan is sitting right here, okay? He's sitting right here. You dare don't say buy, build.
Well, buy is better.
Buy is better?
Buy
okay,
is better.
Karan, I'll come to you last. Build, buy.
I think buy. Building is not my competency and I don't want to waste time.
Building is not my competency. Why should I get into it? Lovely.
Build it in such a way that people buy.
Okay, now this is some competition happening here. Lovely. Build it in such... No, that's a good one. Why do we take it from him as a client? He's actually telling you, build it in such a way that people buy it. Right?
So this is what I need. Build it for me and I'll buy it from you. So as simple as
preempt my issues and build it for me. Just like if somebody is hearing, they'll get me lunch, I'm sure. Another point, I'm sure nobody's come again, so I'm sure that they've lost track of time. So I think they're liking it. Are you liking it, by the way?
So Aditya, they have asked me to be that second person so that we ensure we wind up on time.
Oh, is that? I don't see a timer here, so I don't know. Let's go ahead. Are you liking it? You could be nicer to me. Come on, guys. Thank you. The last question, I think, which I will pose to the panel is, while we did talk about simplicity, purpose, and some bits of complexity, UI matters, right? Okay. And for UI, you have a wide spectrum of employees that, or colleagues that would be using these platforms. On the one hand, Gen Z, anybody Gen Z here? And there's a lot of, a lot of work, if I may say, literature around Gen Z, millennials, XYZ, whatever you are. I'm talking about all those who are here from the 50s to as recent as 2000, 2005. Would you have different preferences in user interface? This is for you to engage you. User interfaces? You're so nice. You want me to craft the answer for you. Okay, I will do that. So there was some articles that I read that different people have different preferences. And for you, Karan, when you have to create something which has to align to various demographic profiles or various personas, if I may say, how do you build that?
Thank you for the question, and a brilliant question. So what we have done is, because HR tool is used by all the employees across organizations, be it 5,000, 10,000. So we wanted to build a platform where there is zero learning curve. And what we decided was that every employee is using email. Why not make a tool similar to that, because there is zero learning curve and everyone is used to that. So build a tool, don't change their habit, build a tool what they are habitual of. So there will be zero.
Build a tool around their habits.
Yeah.
I'm prompted to ask one more question. I'm sorry, because I think I will take this liberty. You will give me that, because if I was not there, you would be chairing. So I'm going to look at you. Okay, but I'm going to ask you this question. Yeah, one last question. They're liking it. So no, I'm just trying to clarify. One last question is that a lot of technological advancements keep happening by the hour, not by the day, by the hour. How do you all keep pace? You've just romanced a product, and you've bought this product, and you've had the frontline people who are there. I mean, the frontline is in the front row executive leadership team, approve, agree, and then there's something that comes up in the news, and they say, "Ye tum kya leke aaye the?" Pehle nahi pata tha that something like this is going to happen. So, what do you do from the client side, and what do you do from an enterprise side? Sure. That's the last question.
So yeah, so technology is like ever changing. It's a race, but like build things that solve problems. So it's not like just for gimmick things. Like you start using all the different technologies just like for the sales. Build it that solves real customer problems.
Great. Anyone here for any last comments?
Yeah, so I think just over the lunch, I was checking with Karan, what is the roadmap for your product for next 1 year, 2 years? So I think that gives me enough just to select a product if I know for next 2 years the product is scalable and they are into the game and what's happening. So from a client side, I look at more from a product roadmap perspective.
Sure, thank you. On that note, we'd like to hand it back to the event team. I'm grateful to all of you, A, for your wonderful insights, B, for bearing with me while you were thinking whether I'm coming or not. And to the audience, you've been so nice to me. You could have actually booed me. You could have actually, shown me some different signs from which I would not like from here. But I think you've been so very kind. The organizers for giving me extra time. And back to my dear senior colleague, Dr. Dwivedi and his team. So thank you very much. We will soon interact from some other forum during the day. Thank you very much.